Hey, and welcome to another episode of There's No Effing Custard. I'm Brad. Of course, this is
Wade.
He's Wade. Now, have you ever had a run-in with the law? Have you ever spent a night in the local watch house? I have.
Couple.
A couple. And we're going to talk about that right after this intro. Yes, that's right. You are talking to a couple of Aussie bogans here, I guess, in some aspects of it. As young blokes, mind you, we are now what's considered middle-aged men, and we've been around the traps for a while. Now, my personal experience is that when I was a young man in my early 20s, late teens, possibly into my 30s, maybe when I came in my 40s.
I think the law well knew you.
They well knew me. See, me and Wade come from two small country towns. Right, this thing, there wasn't a lot to do, was there, mate? Except, and we're not talking about tipping cows or stuff like that. We are talking about, we used to do things as young blokes that if I caught my sons doing, I would give their butts a kick.
Yeah.
Good kicking. Now, the first story, I'm going to explain what happened to me first. Now, my first experience, which got me into trouble with the law, you want to hear what this one was? Remember the time we were sitting at smoke and I was talking about the fact that I ran up the main street of Gladstone wearing nothing but a hard hat and a pair of socks? I was very drunk.
Right.
And I was very naked. And I literally stripped off. First time on the grog, and first time I had a few drinks when I was 17.
17.
I was a late bloomer, as a young guy, when I was at nightclubbing age. You remember the nightclubs, man? You remember when we were young, how we used to go to the nightclubs? We may not be cool now. We may be middle-aged and very uncool to younger generation, but we used to get up to stuff that you young ones got no idea about. I ended up spending a night in the Rockhampton Watch House. Do you want to hear the story?
I certainly would.
Okay, this is the story. Then you tell me your story.
I think everyone might.
Okay, what it is. Okay, I think I was 19, right? Legal drinking age here in Australia. Now you've got to be 21 over in the States and probably other countries. Anyway, so what happened was I was with a group of mates, as you do. We went to another town, Rockhampton. Now, Rocking Gladstone's about an hour's drive, right? And we go north that way. Anyway, so we decided to go out and we decided to get on the grog like we did once every couple of weeks. Now, what happened was I started drinking rum. Now, I'm not a rum drinker at all. I don't drink at all today. I rarely touch the stuff. And anyway, so my mates started getting me on the rum. Now, rum had a funny effect on me. It made me a little bit aggressive. So what happened was, and we're walking out of the nightclub. I think this was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there, and the street sign just kept jumping out in front of me. It just literally was launching itself at me. Haven't you had that problem? Street signs launching. No. They actually come out of their concrete posts in the hole ground, and they jump out in front of you.
No,
as you're trying to walk down the street. You've never
had that issue. No.
Oh, I'm probably the only guy on the planet, but if you've had, I want to hear about it.
What made you think they were jumping out?
Well, because every time I took a step, that bloody street sign was there. So anyway, so I was starting to get a bit angry about this. So I started laying into the street sign.
Stop sign, was it?
No, it was like a give way, the street is closed, yada yada. Anyway, so I started laying into the street sign. Now, mind you, my mates are egging me on, as you do as a young bloke. Now, I don't condone this at all at my age because I just couldn't do it at my age. But so I'm sort of doing the old, type thing, and I was feeling really good about myself. And then my mates just disappeared. I don't know where they went. They just vanished, and I'm looking around going. And I look over, and my drunken life's going, huh? And then sitting there was a cop car. With two very nice police officers with big sticks. And they said to me, I'll never forget this, and they said, "Excuse me, young man." I went, "Huh?" He says, "Could you please escort us to the watch house?" I went, "Oh, I suppose I don't have a choice." So anyway, after they tumbled me into the back of the car nicely, I ended up spending the night in the Rockhampton watch house. But the thing was, and this is where I don't remember, so I ended up passing out in the watch house, like sound asleep. But I woke up, well, they woke me up about 8 o'clock in the morning.
You'd think it was in the watch house, or somewhere else.
Hopefully it wasn't. Anyway, so there I'm in the watch house. And I woke up and I'm going, I felt like crap, because I've been on the Terps all night. And I thought, geez, my feet hurt. And I looked down. I'm going, these aren't my shoes. But I was the only one in the cell that I know about during the night. And I had someone else's shoes on and they were 2 sizes too small. And you know what my mates did? They never came and got me. I had to get a cab from the watch house to where we were staying.
Yeah, mates never turned up?
They never turned up. How good is that? My mates, not Wade of course, I mean, if Wade was there, he would have you would have busted me out, wouldn't you, mate? You would have hooked up the chain onto the bar or ripped it off and threw me over your shoulder and off I go in the sunset, wouldn't you, mate?
Oh, yeah, we would.
No, you wouldn't. You'd just leave me there and throw fruit at me or something. so what was yours? So that's my experience. Plus the obvious times where you're going to get pulled over for doing stupid things in cars when you're young blokes. We're doing burnouts at the lights and stuff like this. And as I've gotten older, I feel that I've lived that now. I can say, look, I never did anything illegal. Like as in, I did. I never did anything I shouldn't have done that was considered really, really bad. I was a typical young bloke. What I remember of? I was a young bloke coming from the bush, and I did really silly things. What about you? What's your experience, mate?
Same thing. On the nightclubs.
They let you in the nightclubs?
They let you in the nightclubs. And it's a good thing they go all night.
They used to go all night. We used to have dawn.
We all used to, wouldn't start to go to about 10 o'clock, 10, 11.
Yeah.
And we'll go to daylight, we'll drink till then. So all our mates on our way home.
And they used to have the 50-cent shots. Whatever happened to those? The 50-cent shots of bourbon. You used to buy bourbon, 50 cents, and you could have those all night.
We'd go the evenings when it was cheaper.
Yeah.
On their nights. And on one of these nights we went, one of the mornings, next morning, that's when the club shut. We were on our way home. 3 or 4 of our mates, all the same. I don't remember how we got down to a little alleyway.
Oh really? You were hanging around alleyways, were you?
I just sort of woke up a little bit later. No mates around too.
It's funny how they disappear in your life, don't it?
I was woken up by a certain few people early in the morning with dogs and walkers and joggers.
Now, please tell me you had your pants on. This was going.
I still had all my clothes on, luckily. And they were still the same clothes I went to the nightclub with. I didn't have a different pair of shoes or underpants.
No, nothing frilly or lacy.
But the local law enforcement didn't like me sleeping half on the road and half on the gutter.
Well, that's the most comfortable spot.
Oh, I had a headrest on the gutter.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to pass out in a gutter,
I was sleeping a bit further up on the path.
Yeah, I mean, but if you go,
I was a bit uncomfortable with the gutter. If
you're going to sleep, if you're going to go in the night and have a big night out, where else are you going to sleep but on the gutter? That's what it's there for. They actually design the gutters nowadays so they curve the shape of the body. So you've got nice contour for your head. You sort of get down, get your head on the grass bit, and your body sort of slants into it. I mean, that's the idea.
That's the design, so you wouldn't choke.
See, that's the thing. They
thought about it.
I bet you didn't know that.
They thought about me.
So you the police officers came along and said, "Listen here, young fellow," or did you react in any way that caused you getting into trouble, or you just sort of rolled over and went back to sleep?
No, they didn't like me there at all. So they just sort of dragged me.
Did they handcuff you?
No, not at all.
I wore the bracelets.
No, I was the lucky one. No,
oh, good.
Yeah. But the gutter felt better than where the second bed was.
Where was the second bed, Wade?
In the one night of holding cell.
Which we call the watch house here in Australia.
Well, the watch house.
Yeah.
Very cold stainless steel.
Yes, yes. And you know, it's surprising when you're sort of that inebriated. You can sleep on anything. I remember one night when I was young, I actually slept. See, but we had a nightclub called Club Marina in Gladstone. Well, it's not called Club Marina. I don't even know if it still goes. We're talking 20 odd years ago. They had this big anchor out the front. I slept over that. Like this. And that's why I stayed for hours, it turns out. I woke up in somebody else's car. Seriously, I don't know how I did it, but I got into somebody. I didn't break in, and the door. Oh, there's a comfy place to lay down. Well, let's lay down here. I woke up next morning with this guy beating the snot out of me. What are you doing in my car, man? I mean, these are things. Look, this is all harmless fun.
Yeah.
You do that. Now, nowadays, when you go out, what happens nowadays? You can't even go out without getting your head knocked in.